To move to the application phase of the umbrella quote, select Create Application. You may now navigate through, select Underlying Information, and add underlying information for each exposure shown. So if I go back to the umbrella coverage, I have 2 properties and 2 autos and nothing else. So on the underlying information, I'm going to add a policy. And first I'm going to select my property policy and press Continue. I can look up my policy number and select the policy number, and all information is already pre-filled. Coverage for business pursuits, and any swimming pool or hot tub on premises. Press Save, and press Return to Underlying Information. I now have 1 exposure. I also said I had another rented policy, so I'm going to add TPC policy. I'm going to add a non-TPC property policy, the policy number, the effective date, and the carrier. Finally, the liability limit. Press Save, Return to Underlying Information. We now have a policy and we need to add our exposure related to the policy. So our exposure I'm going to press Save and Return to Underlying Information. I now have my exposure for my homeowner's property, and I have exposure for my second property. I now need to add my auto policy, to add my policy number, the effective date, the carrier, whether there's split or combined limits, what those split or combined limits are, and if there are any unlicensed vehicles. Press Save, hit Return to Underlying Information. We now have our automobile policy. We need to add our 2 exposures under that. Hit Save, and because I have 2, I'm going to hit New Exposure. Hit Save on this one, and hit Return to Underlying Information. I now have my 2 automobile exposures. Select Next Page. Add any drivers or non-drivers. As a driver, the first one will know who you are or who you are quoting, since we are going in from within the customer. Select the driver status, the gender, the marital status, an occupation, the date they were licensed, the license state, the license number, and whether they have a permanent license. Press Save. You may add new drivers, or you can convert them to a non-driver. Hit Return to Drivers once you are all set. Hit Next Page. Here you will see any A+ loss history that have been returned. Hit Next Page to add any additional interests. Finally, hit Next Page to select a pay plan. You may connect this to an existing statement account, or you may put this on its own account. The choice is yours and the insured's. At this point, press Print Application. The copy of the quote and the application will appear. You may print this or save this, and go back, select Finalize Transaction, select a down payment type, And note that all umbrella applications will be unbound and will be submitted to underwriting for approval. So simply select the Submit for Approval button at the bottom.